Okay, let's dive into this. You hear a phrase like financial terrorists coming from a government leader, and, well, it definitely makes you sit up and listen.
Absolutely. That kind of language isn't your everyday political speak, is it? It signals something pretty dramatic is happening.
Exactly. We're focusing on information coming out of Vijayawada, India, around May 30th, 2025. And the
Mm.
big news is this new initiative they've announced called Operation Clean Politics.
Right. And what we want to do here, based on the material we've looked at, is really unpack that. What's it actually about? Why launch it right now? And crucially, what could it really mean for how things are run in Andhra Pradesh going forward?
Think of it as us trying to understand if this is a genuine, deep political cleanup, or maybe just shuffling the deck chairs a bit. We're
Yeah.
digging into it.
And to really get why they're pushing Operation Clean Politics so hard, you kind of need the backstory. We're talking about CM Chandrababu Naidu coming back into power in 2024. He's been around Andhra Pradesh politics for a long time, right?
A very long time. And his government claims they walked into a situation, financially speaking, that was, well, the term they used was like the economy was on a ventilator.
That's a stark image. And it seems to be backed up, or at least explained, by pointing to some pretty serious alleged problems. There's this huge debt figure mentioned, what was it? RS 9.74 lakh crore, attributed to the previous administration.
Yeah, an enormous number. And apparently just paying the interest on that debt is really squeezing the state budget, eating up funds, basically.
Which means less money for everything else, development, services, you name it. And they point to specific examples too, like trouble in the power sector, something about canceled power purchase agreements leading to a massive RS 9,000 crore penalty from the High Court.
Ouch. That sort of thing definitely makes investors nervous, especially international ones. And then there are these persistent stories, these allegations about the liquor trade under the previous government.
Yeah, that keeps coming up. So all these things, the debt, the specific issues like power and liquor are presented as the reason why this Operation Clean Politics isn't just, a good idea, but absolutely essential right now. It's framed as trying to rebuild trust and transparency.
Okay, so if that's the problem they're identifying, what's the solution they're proposing with this operation? What's the actual game plan?
Well, at its core, it seems laser focused on targeting those individuals they're calling, as you said, financial terrorists, people accused of lining their pockets through scams, kickbacks, dodgy contracts, that sort of thing.
So it sounds almost like setting up a kind of financial SWAT team to go after these specific alleged wrongdoers.
That's a good way to put it. And to make that work, the plan includes boosting the power of investigative agencies, state ones, maybe working with central agencies too. We actually see an example mentioned. The state's police chief apparently briefed the cabinet specifically on how the liquor scam investigation is going.
Ah, so it's not just talk. There are active investigations happening under this banner, but it's not just about catching people, is it? They also talk about rebuilding trust.
Exactly. That seems key. They know they need public buy-in. So they're talking about things like more transparent government processes, setting up public feedback portals, ways for people to feel involved and see what's going on.
And this whole operation, this cleanup, it fits into a much bigger picture, doesn't it? It's meant to pave the way for Naidu's grand vision for the state, this Swarna Andhra Vision 2047.
Precisely. The analogy that comes up is that Operation Clean Politics is like the necessary broom. You can't build your ambitious future, like, say, a new capital city, if someone's walking off with the cement money, right? The financial cleanup has to come first.
It's foundational. And speaking of specific cases, that liquor scam seems to be popping up everywhere in this discussion. It feels like a real focal point.
It definitely seems to be highlighted as a major example of what they're targeting. The allegations are all about irregularities in how the state's liquor business was run before, things like inflated prices, questionable deals.
Basically, potential large-scale siphoning of public funds, if the allegations hold up.
And we know that agencies, both state and central, are actively digging into this right now.
There was also that interesting point about Naidu reportedly telling his ministers to essentially stay out of the investigators' way. Let them do their job without political meddling.
Yeah, that's quite significant if followed through. Because this liquor case, it's being watched very closely. It's seen as a kind of litmus test for the whole Operation Clean Politics initiative.
Absolutely. If these investigations lead to clear findings, accountability, it could really boost the credibility of the whole thing. But, the flip side is also true. If it fizzles out or it gets bogged down.
It could undermine the entire effort. People might just say, see, nothing ever changes. So, yeah, high stakes on that one.
So while the operation is about dealing with the past and present mess, it's all tied up with this very ambitious future, the Swarna Andhra Vision 2047.
It's the bedrock for it, according to the plan. And that vision covers a lot of ground, doesn't it?
Yeah, quite a bit. Things like reviving Amaravati as the capital, aiming for world-class status by 2028, involving a prime minister. Big goals there.
And a heavy focus on clean energy, too. Targets for rooftop solar, big investments already secured in renewables, apparently.
Plus that interesting idea for tackling poverty. This public-private-people partnership, the P4 system, trying to get private money involved, linked with public feedback for transparency.
And of course, major infrastructure, plans for metro rail, big water projects. It's a whole package.
But the thread connecting all of it, the message they keep repeating, is that none of this grand vision happens unless they first get the state's finances cleaned up and transparent.
Makes sense. But launching something this big, especially targeting alleged corruption in a place like Andhra Pradesh, well, it's not going to be easy, is it? There are bound to be major challenges.
Oh, for sure. You'd absolutely expect political fireworks. The opposition, especially the party that was in power before, they're not just going to sit quietly while being accused of financial mismanagement. Expect counterclaims, legal challenges, the works.
And then there's the public. You know, people might be wary. They've likely heard promises about clean government before. Rebuilding that trust takes more than just announcements. It takes consistent results. Public skepticism is a big hurdle.
Totally. And just the sheer difficulty of making government machinery move faster, bureaucratic inertia, implementing new checks and balances, speeding up investigations, that's always tough.
Plus, let's not forget the money situation. They're trying to do all this while still dealing with that huge debt burden we talked about. It's a massive financial balancing act.
And there's one more, maybe awkward challenge that gets mentioned. The history. Naidu's own party has faced allegations in the past. So for this whole operation to seem credible, they really have to show accountability applies everywhere, including within their own ranks.
Keeping their own house in order, basically. Yeah, that's critical for legitimacy.
Which perhaps explains why they're putting so much emphasis on getting the public involved. Things like that P4 system and Swakandra are framed as ways for citizens to participate.
Right, trying to give people concrete ways to engage, like those feedback portals they mentioned. The idea seems to be you could actually report suspected corruption, you see.
You can sort of picture it, right? Someone sees a contractor cutting corners, they whip out their phone, use an app or portal to flag it, empowering people to be part of the oversight.
And that really brings it home to you listening to this. The argument is that every single rupee potentially lost to corruption is money that could have gone into your local school, your hospital, the road you drive on.
So this whole initiative is being sold as a chance to hit reset. And they're saying loud and clear that public involvement is actually crucial to making it work.
So, summing up then, we've got this Operation Clean Politics launched in Andhra Pradesh, May 2025. Very strong language, big goals tackling these alleged financial terrorists.
Yep. And that liquor scam investigation is looking like a really key early test. Will it deliver?
And it's all positioned as absolutely vital for achieving that huge long-term Swarna Andhra 2047 vision.
With a significant call for the public, for you to be an active player, not just a spectator.
Which leaves us with the big question, really. Will this bold move actually manage to clean house, financially speaking, and rebuild that crucial public trust? Or is the biggest risk here that, in the end, it's only the public's patience that gets cleaned out? Something to keep watching, for sure.